This YouTube video is brought to you by Ritorto Family Books. Check out www.Ritorto Family Books, where you can find books written by your host, Marc Ritorto, including The Cabal, The Saga Begins, and Marc is the Vampire, as well as books written by his daughter, Kristina Ritorto, including Invisible Girl and A Little Bit Louder.
Hi guys, welcome to the Rockin' with Marc YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about a couple different topics. First topic is, are you too old to learn guitar? Well, I can honestly speak that I didn't start guitar until I was in my early 40s, so I don't think age has anything to do with it. There are obviously some factors that do attribute to an older person having difficulties in certain playing aspects. Like if you're older and you got arthritis in your hands, certain movements may be very uncomfortable for you. I know I had a lot of problems with my hands, getting certain fingers to stretch and so forth, but that's primarily due to my I had a lot of finger injuries when I was younger. And then there's also the aspect that, if you're in your 30s and 40s, you're going to be a family man, so you're not going to have that much time to practice as, let's say, a young 15 or 17-year-old who doesn't have work or have a job, who's not married with kids, so they can put more time into it. But in general, I don't think age has anything to do with it. It all depends on what your drive and motivation is when it comes to playing and learning guitar. I do think you need to have some reasonable expectations of yourself. If you're looking to play like Eddie Van Halen or Randy Rhoads or even George Lynch or Warren DeMartini or Jimi Hendrix or any one of those guitarists that you may idolize, obviously you need to put a lot of time into it. So if you're the average working Joe with a family and kids and you're only putting 30 minutes a day, then your progress with learning an instrument will be a lot slower. So I think you should have some reasonable expectations. If you're not going to be able to put in an hour to at least an hour a day, then your progress is going to be slow. I know 2 hours a day is hard. I've done it, but what I do is I usually practice late at night. I try to get an hour late afternoon after work, and then maybe an hour late at night. But it is very hard to get in with the kids. So you have to set reasonable expectations on yourself. Which leads to the next topic: how to practice. Now, most people, when they say practice when it comes to an instrument, they may practice a few scales, they may practice a few chords, maybe a few songs, depending on what their instructor has told them to do. Now, in my case, I'm self-taught. So my experience is going to be a little different than from, let's say, someone who's going to learn from a guitar instructor. So my advice is, when you're practicing guitar, try to practice with purpose. Try to think of goal setting. Try to set your goals within reasonable expectation, is in accordance with your practice schedule. So if your goal is to, let's say, learn bar chords, then what I believe is what I call the 80-20 rule. I don't know if it's the actual 80-20 rule that everybody refers to, but my rule is that if you're trying to learn something specific with the guitar, let's say bar chords, in your practice session, you should try to do it at least 80% of the time. If it's learning legato, try to do it 80% of the time. And you should try to set your goals in different ways. You should have short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term, trying to be, let's say, something that you can learn within 2 or 3 months. Long-term, anything longer than 6 months. And you should arrange your practice sessions accordingly. For me, I'll give you an example as to how I practice. So for me, I want to be able to be really good at chords, because I think if you can be really good at chords, you can pick up, there's my dog here out there in the background. You can pick up songs and perform them very easily, whereas if you're trying to learn by tab, or if you're actually reading sheet music, it's a little slower, because you got to sit there and you got to see, oh, which fingering is here and there and that. Whereas if it's a chord, you can go right to it. So what I try to do is, let's say out of an hour session, I would spend 15 to 20 minutes a day just focusing on certain chords, in my case, that I really like to accomplish, which would be bar chords. So I will do that every, let's say, 5 to 6 days for at least 15 minutes. I have a series of videos on my tips for bar chords. I could put them in the link in the description below. But what I do with my bar chords is I practice riffs, which I'll show in another video. And I'll do each riff. There's 3 main riffs that I practice, and I'll do them for 5 minutes each. And I actually set the timer. I do that every day, and then, because that's my main objective, is to always be really good at chords. It took me a long time to learn, and I should say it took me like 6 months to learn bar chords. So after I accomplished it, my goal was to try to play every song as I can, even if they're open chords, using bar chords, so I can get better at it. Another training thing I try to do, so that's like my immediate short-term goal, was to always to get good at that. So I practice that. If you're practicing 3 times a week, 4 times a week, try to dedicate 15 minutes to that. Then my other goal was finger tapping. I practiced that, like, let's say, twice a week, because I just wanted to just get the basics. Basics of finger tapping down. It's not my immediate and concentration goal, so I only do that once or twice a week for like 5 minutes, as you can tell. Still need a lot of work at it. There's always room for improvement for everybody. The other thing I try to do at least twice a week is legato. I do that twice a week for at least 5 minutes. Again, that is more of a, not really my concentration goal. I would say that's more of my long-term goal. But what I'll probably end up doing is switching my focus, because I figure in 6 months from now I'll be like a lot better than where I'm at with my bar chords. I am good at them. I've perfected them, but I think I could be 10 times better playing it up and down the neck, and not just the standard E, A bar chords shape forms, but there's other versions. There's C, there's G. If you know the cage system, there's one for each letter in the cage system. But then as I want to get better at other things like legato, I would put more emphasis on them. It's going from, instead of twice a week, to making it every day for 15 minutes. And the same thing with the finger tapping. So I think you should look at your overall playing. Look at what it will take you to be a decent player. If you're a beginner, try to focus on reading tabs. So that, I think, so that should be your first main focus. Then learn chord structure. Learning some different chords. So that should, your immediate goal, short-term goal should be learning tabs. Then learning chords should be your long-term goal. Then you can progress from there to soloing, and different aspects, different styles of music. Another important thing that I think is important for people to do, other than just practicing riffs and chords, is try to learn the whole entire song from beginning to end. I think that my first couple years when I was playing, what I did a lot of was noodling, what they call, just going up and down, playing a couple of riffs, the same riffs over and over. If you're doing that, stop it. You'll never progress as a musician. My advice is to pick songs that you think that you can master. At least I would say anywhere between a minimum of 5 songs, and play them at least for 5 minutes in every practice session. If you're new to soloing, try to pick songs that got very short amount of soloing, or if any soloing at all. Like, let's say Kashmir for Led Zeppelin is a good song to learn if you don't know soloing, because there's no soloing in it. Same thing. There's another Led Zeppelin song, but it escapes me. And then if you wanted to learn a song with soloing in it, and you're starting out, try to pick songs that have easy solos. So let's say It Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. That's got an easy solo in it. You can pick that up pretty easily. And then you focus on those same 5 songs. And then another thing that I try to do with my guitar practice is pick one day where I'm just doing things for fun. I'm just doing the riffs that I like, songs I like, whether I know them or not, or try to learn a new song. Because you have to keep your guitar practice interesting. You just don't want to do the same thing over and over again. Another advice I would say is to practice often, even if it's just 15 minutes per day, 6 days a week or 7 days a week. I find that I learn more when it comes to physical activity, whether it's the martial arts or guitar, if I do things in more repetitive on a daily fashion, let's say in shorter time periods, as opposed to let's say 3 times a week for 2 hours. I will learn more if I do the same activity, let's say 30 minutes a day, 5-6 days a week, as opposed to 2 days a week or 3 days a week for 2 hours at a clip. Because when it comes to guitar playing, you need to develop muscle memory. And the only way that you can develop muscle memory is to do it frequently. So, in summary, do I think age has a factor in learning guitar? No. But the lifestyle of a person who's older than a person who's younger in their 20s and teenage years can have a factor on you advancing in the instrument of guitar. But if you have a strong desire to learn, put the time in, the more you get at it. Remember, a simple saying is, practice makes perfect. And it's the same with everything else. Guitar, martial arts, anything. Alright guys, hope you liked this video. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, and click the bell notification button. Alright, see you in the next video.